Ribeiro-Addy.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. This week marks 1 year since the first UK lockdown. My thoughts and prayers this week are with the loved ones of the almost 130,000 people who have lost their lives since then. It's also a year since the government was given an unprecedented set of extraordinary powers via the Coronavirus Act. And I would add that this was not done with a recorded vote. The only possible justification for giving the government the powers outlined under the Act is to keep us safe. But this government has presided over the worst coronavirus death toll in Europe and the worst economic recession since records began, so that clearly has not worked. Many of the measures have barely been used, as the Secretary of State admitted himself today. Even worse, a year on, with all the experience we now have of dealing with the virus and its ramifications, members of Parliament are not given the opportunity to scrutinise or amend measures that would better serve our constituents who continue to suffer. It seems because this Act is not about safety or support, it doesn't even adhere to our equalities law, it's yet another means of consolidating power in an ever-failing executive. And the Secretary of State actually proved that when he announced today that the government was suspending a number of measures in this Act. Whilst I believe the Secretary of State thought this announcement would appease those with concerns like me, all I heard is that whilst democratically elected members of this House can only vote yes or no, the government can do whatever it likes. No checks, no balances, no scrutiny. This government's majority does not give them the right to run roughshod over our democracy and prevent members from representing their constituents. And I would argue that perhaps if alternative measures were permitted before this House, the party opposite might find the numbers in their lobby dwindling as MPs decide to vote with the best interests of their constituents. This Act is not the best we can do by this country. Madam Deputy Speaker, last March, when the Act was introduced, human rights organisations warned that the powers it contained were loosely drafted, giving too much discretion to the Home Secretary and too much room for confusion. The vigil in my constituency to remember Sarah Everard showed us exactly what this meant. The decision to stop women from exercising their civil liberties to express their anger and grief and actually leaving everyone less safe. The police should never have been in a position to do this, but they cited this Act as their legal right to do so. It has also been used to fine nurses protesting the disgraceful 1% pay rise and GMB workers picketing the disgraceful fire and rehire practices. It's not irresponsible or unreasonable to vote against this Act today. It's, as some might say, a vote against measures that were not going to keep us more safe. It's actually a demand for measures that will protect us all. The first time this Act was passed, it was done in 1 day. Voting this Act down gives us 21 days. We do have time. And this is why I was pleased to support Liberty's Protect Everyone Bill, the alternative coronavirus bill, laid down by my honourable friend, the member for Brent Central. There is an alternative, and I'll be voting against this Act renewal tonight to give us the opportunity to realise that. Thank you.